I really liked. Let me tell you what I liked.
Yeah.
That like metal. You're listening to the Andy Griffin show. Like literally, dude, I wanted to jump out and just like do something. I don't even know what I was gonna do.
The boss came by yesterday. By the way, for Jeremy Larkin,
Boss is riding you hard.
boss came
Yeah.
by yesterday. I was listening to Def Leppard, and he's like, "Oh, you like that?" I was a DJ in the late '80s and early '90s playing on a rock station, so I love that
That's
stuff.
right, you were. That's right, you were. I believe you. I'm with you. Jeremy Larkin here. God, my voice is
Good
extra.
morning.
It's extra gravelly. There's been a little something in my system this week. Jeremy Larkin, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. The beautiful voice in the background is that of none other than Jessica Taggart Barone.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I dig this setup. I like you in my space, but I like you even better not in my space because then we don't have a Zoom
I
echo.
hear you.
All right. And I'm gonna ask guys, we're not live on Facebook yet because I had a little glitch. So I'm gonna ask as soon as I'm live on Facebook, I'm going to ask the folks in our office. Uh
How our sound
uh
is.
oh my gosh. You know how our sound is. Yeah. Yeah. So Andy, it's the well, actually, you know what? Before we even talk about the St. George Area Parade films, this is
Starts tomorrow.
yeah, it starts tomorrow. Of course, we're the Larkin Group, brokered with Keller Williams Realty. There is our legal disclaimer. Inevitably, the one time we don't say those three words, which somehow supposedly protect consumers, yeah, Utah real estate law. Don't even start me. Actually, do start me. Do start me about all the ways that things are upside down and actually not super helpful to people. But if we don't say that and someone hears it, they could report us and they could say, you know, these guys got on their air and they were talking for 30 minutes about real estate, obviously as real estate agents, branding themselves as Larkin Group, but they didn't say Keller Williams Realty. That's actually real. That's actually real in our world. And then we could be fined for it. And isn't it funny because that would allegedly, since Stockton this morning in his news report said the driver, was it the robber of the credit union, the alleged who allegedly did it. Don't you love the terminology that they use?
Got to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the video of the guy robbing the credit union, but it was allegedly.
Alleged. Hmm.
Did you notice he rolled up from Henderson, Nevada? Because he knew it wasn't like Vegas is, he's like, I got to go up to St. George. So there you go. Jessica, good morning.
Good
Hey,
morning.
guys, if we have any audio issues, good morning, Marlene. Let us know if we have any problems. We would appreciate it. We're live on Facebook, facebook.com/Jeremy Larkin. And life's good. Life's good.
Life
So,
is great. Did you guys have a nice Valentine's
yeah,
Day?
well, you already know. Do you remember? You know what? Tell them what I
I know
did for
what you did.
Valentine's Day. Tell them where I was caught at Valentine's.
Jeremy had retail therapy at Target, which is one of my favorite places to go any day.
Yeah.
But we celebrated at the office a little bit.
Yeah.
There was love going on in our office and
Well, the
great times.
we did. Here's the thing. I, Andy, as I pulled up my Facebook to make sure that we were broadcasting on Facebook, I saw my relationship status was it's complicated. Just kidding, it's single. There's nothing
It's
complicated.
always
There ain't
complicated.
nothing complicated about it. It's like there's no question about what it is. You know, Jessica, we talked about this, right? Having relationship problems when you're not in a relationship. I'm actually not. My relationship with me is amazing. And
Well, I just think it's fun to celebrate love, right?
mhm.
Not romantic. There are more Valentine's
Yeah.
Days that I've been single than not, but I
Oh, it was
think it's
such a
fun to
fun morning.
just,
It was a fun day. It was a fun day. And
yeah.
I love every
It was a fun day until my
yeah,
heart was
tell
shattered by
like
my
before we get
6-year-old
into real estate, we're gonna
nephew.
talk about the wealth of homeowners and something interesting about um, homeownership amongst kind of different races, right? Whether it's
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
classic white
Demographics.
Caucasians, the African Americans, the Asian, like all of this. We actually have data on all this. It's fascinating from the
Hmm.
Fed. Okay, go
Hmm.
ahead. But what happened to you with Henry?
Oh, well, Henry, my darling 6-year-old nephew that I'm obsessed with, I called him after school to see how his Valentine's Day went. And I could
Mm,
no longer be his Valentine because he's in love with some girl named Juliana in his class. And I know, so it's kind of a rough afternoon after that.
Did you go ahead and talk to your
but it was a good day.
husband Rick to console you? Okay, good.
I did. I mean, I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay. It just I wasn't ready for that yet. So anyway, I hope things go swimmingly with Juliana.
Actually, do you know how I helped her feel better? We were texting. So Jessica and I, Jessica is one of our great, she's one of my agent partners from like 7 years now, right? Are we at 7? 6 years? 6 years?
Almost 7 in August.
And Jessica is, by the way, a really, really serious real estate professional. She knows what she's doing. She has some amazing gifts and talents, and like in the design world. And
thank you.
Yeah,
no,
welcome.
You're so generous.
That's why you're on with us. She has a lot to offer. But what we do is when I target purchasing, hello, whatever I'm doing, we end up in a text interaction because I'm like, what do you think? Can I pull this off?
All of his purchases were sanctioned.
Sanctioned. And she's like, do you know what just happened with Henry, my 6-year-old nephew? And I said, well, great news. Here's a picture of some tumblers I'm purchasing right now. You'll feel better. And she did. Instantly, you were distracted from the pain.
It's like, I don't even have to do the retail therapy, and I can feel those endorphins. It's a beautiful thing.
So they've got echoing Andy, and you know what it is. I'll tell you, it is you and I. Yeah, we'll have to mute you, darn it. So we're going to have Andy just be beautiful today. All right. Yeah, Andy's going to wave. Thank you, Marlene. So we don't have our regular microphones because the one call, that's all. Jesse Paul is in Idaho, and he had the mics in his bag. So, okay, look, it was a good day. It was a fun day. And what I love is everybody's posting things. And my message yesterday, by the way, my message was very clear. It's on my social media. Choose you. Choose you.
Mm-hmm.
Is the best thing you can do. This is the only bit of TED Talk you're going to get today, and then we'll talk about real estate. The best thing you can do for your family, your spouse, your children is learn to choose yourself, and not in a selfish way. But knowing that you have your own back allows you to show up very differently. Yeah, right. In a very non-needy way. I mean, look, we all have deep patterns and habits that date back to, as we teased in our office, the time we didn't get picked for the team or whatever happened, right? As a matter of fact, you talked about Valentine's Day. There was a gal, I still remember my first grade yearbook, second grade, the yearbook, first grade, East Elementary, which is now the Atwood Innovation Plaza. I had gone in with a tiny little red marker, and I had painted the lips like lipstick on a girl I liked. And I still remember forever and ever and ever that it was in there. And that was a lot of fun. And I'd look back at that and like, oh man, that crush. But guys, you have to have your own back. And when you have your own back, everyone around you benefits.
They can feel it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this, guys. This is our real estate deep dive. This is fun, right? Like we do a little self-help, and guys, we help people navigate and manage their wealth in real estate. That's what we do at the Larkin Group: buying, selling, investing. I told the story Tuesday, Jessica, in Cedar, that we had a client. And by the way, our topic today this isn't even an accurate title, but it is the topic: minority homeownership rates and building household wealth. And the reality is, we kind of want to show you nationally, these are things you don't even think about in a place like St. George, Utah as much. If you lived in a large metropolitan area, you would think about this, right? There's a great quote: "The price of greatness is responsibility," Winston Churchill. And I'll set this up with, had a client call me on Monday. He's like, his name's David, owns a home in Hurricane. We helped him purchase the home. We helped his sister purchase a home. We helped their father purchase a home, all these things. He said, hey, I'm thinking of selling my place in Hurricane. Give me a call. And we got on a call at 5:30 Monday. And he said, well, I'm moving to Vegas. And I was just kind of thinking, like, I was going to keep it as a rental, but I don't know if I can get, if there are a lot of people who want to rent in Hurricane. I said, David, there are endless people who want to rent in Hurricane. He said, really? I said, yeah. What are you asking? Well, I was asking $2,150. I said, you should be asking $2,500. He's like, really? Yeah, you could get $2,500. So far, you can definitely find tenants. You should be charging more. And he said, well, I don't want to hold on to it unless I'm going to get like a 5 to 10% increase in values over the next 10 years, because I could just go put the cash in a in a CD these days at 5.25%. I said, well, based on all the data that we are seeing, we absolutely think home values are going to go up 5 to 10%.
Mm-hmm.
What am I telling this guy? You, yeah,
Hold on to it.
for the record, we tell this story. Jesse and I always talk in the show. Well, we talk people out of selling it. I think folks might be suspicious. Like, really? Oh yeah. He said, wow, I almost feel kind of bad. I mean, I don't know if, as a matter of fact, I owe him a market report today. Note, I'm making a note. I'm going to send him a market, basically an equity report on that home. But I said, David, why would you sell the house? You should keep the house. That's a great rental, dude. You could definitely rent it for more. There's a long list of people who want to rent the home. Home values seem to be on the rise for the next 5 to 10 years. All the data says they are. So the price of greatness is responsibility. Well, I don't know if we're that great, but the price of doing things right is responsibility. And so, guys, everybody shouldn't buy or sell all the time. But I am going to point out today that everyone should own real estate. Should we go for it?
Sure.
Okay. So these are wealth gaps. This is the first slide, and I want to put this into a slideshow format better. Wealth gaps amongst racial groups. This is not terribly surprising, except for, you know what I found fascinating, Jessica, guys, and if you're listening on the radio, you'll see this. So this shows, according to the Fed, median wealth net worth of Asian, white, Hispanic, and Black racial groups. Okay. Well, Blacks and Hispanics were in the lowest category at $44,000 and $61,000. Whites were at $285,000. What's amazing is Asians were at $536,000. And we're going to talk about where housing plays into this. You probably have the smallest population of Asian families in North America, right? Of these four groups. So I'm guessing that's the smallest group, right? So it's interesting that the median net worth is so much higher. But let's talk about what happened with net worth in the last 3 years. According to the Federal Reserve Board, it was the largest 2019 to 2022 was the largest growth in median net worth ever. For families, I mean, this is great. Jessica, will you read that to these folks?
Sure.
This is a great quote.
For families that own their primary residence, housing wealth increased substantially between 2019 and 2022 as the rise in house prices over this period far outpaced inflation. The median net worth value, the median net housing value increased 44%.
44%.
Crazy.
You know, and what we want to talk about is owning real estate and why it's so important. You know, we cannot fix microeconomic, socioeconomic problems, right? I mean, the reality is you have groups who are more impoverished, and you have groups who are less impoverished, and all over the country. It's all over the world. You know, it was really interesting when I served an LDS mission, and when we talk about this wealth gap across racial groups, I was in the Dominican Republic, and Dominican Republic, the Dominicans are what they call a mulatto, right? A mulatto is just, it's basically an African descent, but Spanish speaking. Well, Dominican Republic shares the island with Haiti, and Haiti is more French African, right? And there was absolutely a wealth and a huge racial disparity between the groups. The Dominicans looked down on the Haitians. And we were missionaries working with people who were pretty uneducated, to be truthful, right? Like a lot of these people had no education, Dominican Republic. We were 19, 20-year-old kids, and we would have to kind of tell them, hey, you need to be loving with you know what I mean? With the Haitian people. And so the reason I tell this story is this exists everywhere.
Oh, I served in Guatemala, and they have lots of feelings against
racial classes, right? There are racial classes. And so we have this thing in the United States, especially with a lot of what happened in the last 5 years, that we're the only people who have racial inequality. There's racial inequality, Jessica, is there not? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
By the way, guys, go to Paris today. Go to Madrid, Spain today, and what will you see? You'll see African folks on the street with all their stuff spread out on blankets selling their stuff. Jessica, correct?
Little Eiffel Towers,
Little
little,
life. Yeah, like guys, this exists everywhere in the world. The news flash is Americans are not the worst people on the planet. We're very consumeristic. So there's this racial inequality with wealth everywhere, right? And we have people south of the border trying to cross our border, which is a whole separate conversation. But what we're getting at is while we can't fix those things, we can name the reality of those things. And when you see this inequality, this exists everywhere in the world, right? People in impoverished areas are always wishing that they were less impoverished. And why wouldn't they be, right? That is very, very normal. So let's talk about homeownership. Jessica, share this number with folks. This is at the end of 2022. This is the federal government gave us this data, not the National Association of Realtors.
Sure. So the average net worth of a homeowner over opposed to a renter is 40 times greater.
40 times. Oh
so I think, we're talking about disparities and socioeconomic differences and social or just different demographics and races. And
yes.
Ultimately, homeownership can be the way out of that poverty.
Yeah.
Whatever that home looks like, right? And so just that, I feel like, we joke about, or we share about serving church missions, and yet we're sharing such an important message as real estate agents of the benefits of how you can build wealth and change the trajectory of your family by being a homeowner.
Yeah. Amen. Homeownership, median net worth of homeowners in North America at the end of the year, Jessica, was
close to $400,000, $396,200, and renters are at $10,400.
Now watch this. This is amazing. Okay, let's keep going. The gap's widening. In 2010, the gap was $181,000. By 2022, it was $385,000. But what I'm going to point out in our show, home equity was not the only thing that caused this wealth. So I've been sharing with our team. And if you're a realtor listening today, by the way, you can beat the drum really confidently that homeownership is the single greatest predictor of household wealth in the United States. Because what it does is it sets into motion other habits. And we're going to talk more about it, okay? So homeowner and renter net worth by income. Well, I don't like this slide. Let me keep going. Here we go. Okay. It's kind of fun. This is graphically. So Jessica, median household income in St. George, Utah is like $60,000. Okay. So in the $56,000 to $91,000 household income, the difference in net worth between a renter and a homeowner is $239,000.
$250,000 almost is crazy.
Yeah.
Just fascinating.
But watch what happens as you go higher. When you get into 91 to 152, you're at $317,000 difference. When you go 152 to 249,000,
almost
$700,000. And in households earning over $250,000, which, side note, that sounds like a lot to a lot of people. But I promise you, in pockets of the United States, Northern California, Southern California, there are a lot of people earning $250,000 household income, right? Because you have two incomes. You have somebody earning 150 as doing something and somebody else earning 100 doing X, and the household income is $250,000. The difference in net worth, Jessica, on that group,
$2.1 million.
$2.1 million, guys. Watch this. Here's what's fascinating. It's not all home equity. See, in that highest price, in that highest income category, the home value component of net worth in the $151,000 to $250,000 household income, the home equity portion is only $300,000. Other investments was $568,000. And here's my point. Living in a rental is transactional. Jessica, tell me if this resonates. It's a transactional way of living. It's, hey, I'm going to stay here for a really short period of time. I'm not committed to anything. Basically, you're going to date your landlord, okay? Or you're going to date the house, right? You're going to date the house. Hey, max 1 year lease. Very rarely do you see over a 1 year lease. I want to bail out when I want to bail out. Uh, a lot of rentals go to month, meaning after the first year is over, they go, hey, we're not sure if we want to stay, but we'll just go month to month with the landlord. The landlord can kick me out. The landlord can raise my rent every year. I'm not really responsible for maintenance as long as I didn't do it. It's transactional. Homeownership is, Jessica, how is that
Well,
different?
you're in charge of everything, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah.
Right.
You're planting a
Right.
stake,
You're
right?
planting roots, and those habits beget other habits.
Yes. Yes. You're like, well, maybe I should start saving money.
Right.
Man, now that I'm a homeowner, gosh, I'm kind of responsible for things. Maybe I should get a 401k. Maybe I should get a Roth IRA if I don't work for a corporation. Maybe I should fund my IRA. It's non-transactional, right? Homeownership. I'm going to move into the neighborhood. Well, what did I bet? There's all these people that live around me. What do we call those people that live around you on your street?
Our lovely neighbors.
Neighbors. Well, shoot, if I'm going to be here a while, I probably should just say hello to a guy. Every morning, the guy comes out and does the thing next door to me. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like, the neighbor does the thing, whether it's they get the paper or they walk the dog or the gal, she's always on her porch. Maybe I'll just stick my head over the wall and go, hey, good morning. I see you today. I'm Jeremy. I'm Jessica. Cool. Where'd you move from? We moved from Sacramento. Where'd you move from? We moved from across town. It's non-transactional. And owning a home sets into motion other events that build wealth. Will you read this again? This is so great. She's such a great reader. I
It's
love
my
this.
school teaching
I love
days.
this. And this is a beautiful, beautiful summary.
Overall, homeownership promotes wealth building by acting as a forced savings mechanism and through home value appreciation. In addition, owning a home promotes intergenerational homeownership and wealth building. Children of homeowners transition to homeownership earlier, lengthening the period over which they can accumulate wealth.
Boom.
That's from Habitat of
Yeah.
Humanity.
Yeah. How about this, Jessica? You were an educator.
Mhm.
2 minutes left in the show. Is it not typical? It's typical, isn't it, that someone says, I was the first person to go to college in my family?
Mhm. And
They
there's an
break that
immense
out.
sense of pride.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
look at homeownership. It's not surprising that when you own a home, then the generations behind you tend to
Own a home.
own a home, right? So, guys, the last thing we're going to wrap up here is we have a high homeownership rate in the United States. 65.7% of Americans own a home. 46% of the Black population, 50% of the Hispanic population, well, I'm going to skip that because it's all combined. 63% of Asian, Native American, and Pacific Islanders combined, and 73% of whites. So we actually have a pretty darn high home ownership rate. But the number one thing, what we're telling you, would help these other racial groups that have lower net worth is to what? Is to own a home.
And here's the thing, because there's a
With
couple of
wealth.
slides, and I know we are going to run out of time.
Yep. Go ahead.
When I meet with especially first-time home buyers, they have this there are a lot of misunderstandings or myths about what is needed to become a homeowner, or if they're listening to advice from people that have not been in the market for a long, long time, they're just not really operating with the best information. And so often people feel like homeownership is so much further out of reach than it really is. And that is why it is so important to talk to a professional
Yep.
that can talk through the steps, that can put you in touch with a great lender. I mean, we're sponsored by Guild Mortgage. Chantry and his team will talk to you about if repair needs to be made with your credit, the steps that you can do, because it is often much closer than people feel or
100%.
believe.
Andy, are we at 10 seconds?
You have about 30.
So
30
we
seconds.
we host, I'm going to plug our monthly first-time homebuyer class.
It's an actual workshop
Please
where you
let
walk
us
in
know.
and
It's an
we'll help
amazing
you.
opportunity to learn more about the steps of
We'll actually
becoming a
show you
homeowner.
how to become a homeowner in 12 months or less, correct?
Yep. It's this Thursday. So come look on our website. We'll have an invite
I love
there.
that you say it's
We'd
not
love
out
to
of
have
reach.
you.
Guys, visit
It's not out of
gostgeorge.com
reach.
or Google the Larkin Group. We do have our your first home workshop coming up this month. And Jessica Marone, Jeremy Larkin, Larkin Group.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, Google the Larkin Group. Over now.
Have a great day.